And welcome back. We are now going to work on updating our ninja. We have done, of course, the basic body here, but there are, of course, some things that we need to do. For example, I might want to have him have more of this walking animation like we do here. And so if I look right now, he is standing perfectly vertical, apart from maybe a little bit of a lean. So I'm going to start with his right leg here. I'm going to go to my free transform tool, and I'm just going to rotate this so it looks more like a natural step here. I might have to slide that over a little bit to kind of get it in the right position, but that looks pretty good. Now, one other thing you'll notice, if I try to take this leg, for example, and I were to rotate it, you'll notice that it rotates around his knee. Now, that's not where the leg is going to rotate. We want to rotate closer to the hip. So I'm going to grab this pivot point here in the middle and drag that up into more of the hip region. So now when I rotate this, you'll see that his leg now rotates in a much more natural fashion. Similarly, let's now go ahead and do the same thing, but for the left leg. So I'm just going to rotate that out just a little bit so it looks a little more natural. And I'm going to, again, grab that pivot point and move it up near the hip. So that way when this leg rotates, you will again have a much more natural pose. Alright, now we want to, of course, add some different shadows and stuff. If you remember, we did this with the head. We created kind of a illusion of shadow here. So let's go ahead and focus on certain body parts here to go ahead and create those. So let's start first with our body. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and unlock these other layers so don't accidentally grab them. And now I'm going to go to the body. And what I want to do is do the same thing as I did before. I want to go ahead and create this kind of shadow effect with the light source coming down from here. So what I'm going to do is, because I have these other pieces on top of it, for example, the two arms here, I can actually just hide those so I can kind of temporarily get them out of the way. And I'm going to grab my line tool again. And what I want to do is I want to take that line tool and just go ahead and bring that through the body here. And now that it is in there, I can, of course, create this into two different colors. Now this line is a little hard to see here because if you look at the body, we can see that it's pretty close to the same color. So I'm going to Control Z here, and I'm just going to go ahead and reset this color here. So I have a more solid black here. This is a white line here, of course, because you can see now I have a white stroke. And that's perfectly fine, or if we want to switch this over to being a black stroke, we can do that as well. Either way, we're going to grab our selection tool, and we're just going to go ahead and bend this, and so it looks much more natural here. And of course we can do, I don't want to move that. I just want to move this in such a way so that it appears to be natural. Now I don't know what is behind the head here, so I can always come in and hide the head layer. Just so I can take off these little pieces that might be left over. And now that I have these two zones, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my color picker to grab the arm color. And let's go ahead and fill this into the front. And you'll see one thing that happens is that filled all this in. So now the legs and the arms are the same color. So I may not want that to be the same color there. If I do the back, you can see it's too light. Let's bring our head back in just for a second here. And if you notice, we pretty much have two tones here. So we have this dark gray and we have this light gray. So again, we want to make sure we are using the same colors for consistency. Part of the reason why this blends is because we don't have an outline here on the outside of our shape. And that's perfectly fine. I'm going to go ahead and remove this line though. And so now we have that part done. Now let's repeat this process for the other limbs. So I'm just going to go ahead and show you how to do one of them. So let's go ahead now and hide the body. And let's go ahead and bring in to the arm here. And I'm going to do the same thing. So let's go to our, this is our left arm. We want to unlock that. And you can see that that is now selected. Let's go ahead and lock the body because we don't want to accidentally grab that layer even though it's invisible. Grab our pencil tool or our line tool here. Go ahead and trace this through. And then using our selection tool, we're going to just go ahead and bend that so it looks a lot more natural here across this character. And then once those are in place, we can go ahead and trim that up. And we're going to use our eyedropper tool now to grab this darker color and go ahead and fill in those regions. Once we're done, remove the line. All right, and now of course we have some shadow added in here. All right, I'm going to let you go ahead. At this point, I'm going to pause the video, and I want you to go ahead and do this for your other limbs. Go ahead and add those shadings in, and when we come back, we should have shading on every part of our ninja. All right, and now that we are back, we can see our completed ninja here. We have updated this with some shadows here to help really add some more dynamic to this. Now, of course, our ninja right now is very static. As you notice, he is not animated. We haven't added any frames of animation yet to him, which is what we're probably going to want to do next if we want this character actually to come to life.